Um, Welcome everyone to our weekly lunch and learn. I say weekly, I don't know, we're having kind of various times, but today we have Paul Heapman and Kat from Home Trust Bank. They're going to talk about down payment assistance, and apparently they're going to do it in less than 21 minutes. So Paul, Kat, take it away.
Super, thanks. I'm Paul. Hopefully you can see Kat there too. I think we should just jump right into it. Kat, you want to throw the first slide up? While she's doing that, I want to give Kat a little more of an introduction. We got real serious about these programs. They're challenging to use sometimes. And Kat is our dedicated community development loan officer. So being so serious about helping with these challenges around affordable housing, Home Trust made the decision to hire a person that would specialize in these more difficult.
Yeah, there's that big blue.
And Kat is that person. So that's why you're meeting her, because she is the expert on these subjects. So all right. Down payment assistance. Let's go to the next slide.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll get you started. And Paul is too kind. He's too generous with the word expert, but I'll do my best. Well, we're very excited to be here. Thank you, everybody. Let me get Paul started here.
All right. I'm not going to read every slide, but this one I like. We can start with housing, the sturdiest of footholds for economic mobility. A national affordable housing program would be an anti-poverty effort, a human capital investment, and community improvement plan and public health initiative roll into one. So, you know, I'm sure you as agents speak to this all the time, but one of the most impactful things you can do for someone is to help them become a homeowner. So that's what this is all about. Let's just talk Buncombe real quick. Housing units, renter occupied 36.7%. Of those 36.7%, 66.2% are cost burdened. We are really close to the national average here. I think we're going to get some new census data that may change some of this pretty soon, but right now we're really close to national average. Obviously, we want as much home ownership as we can have, but I wouldn't say we're ahead or behind when it comes to these national numbers. Next. All right. So speaking of Buncombe County, we're Home Trust is the only bank headquartered in Buncombe County. And I won't harp on this too much, but we are serious about down payment assistance and programs to help people in our community. Also, a fun fact, those three, we call them rooftops. They represent kind of our value system. So one of them represents individuals, the people in our community. The other, the businesses in our community, and the third, our community as a whole. So those three little rooftops mean a lot to us, and this is part of that effort to help our community members. Next. All right.
Paul.
So this is where I'm going to pass it off to Kat, our expert, and she's going to tell you a little bit about several programs. And we're going to go through and compare them. So take it away, Kat. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction, Paul, and for that lead in. So as Paul mentioned, within Buncombe County and beyond, obviously our commitment to affordable housing and providing sustainable and supportive financial wellness for families extends through the mortgage side. In that, we have made significant investments with several Habitat for Humanity affiliates across our footprint, including Tennessee, North Carolina. We're working on one in Greenville, South Carolina. So just a highlight to our commitment. in that commitment, we've also expanded our program offerings to not just FHA. Normally that's what our borrowers tend to lean towards when we have limited down payment funds, or maybe we've had some credit hurdles in the past. So we've come up with some solutions that can really assist us in helping these borrowers and really putting them in a position that is going to set them up long term. So one of those programs is actually a Home Trust Bank portfolio exclusive program. It's called the Homeownership Now. And so with this, there are several benefits and qualifications. And as Paul mentioned, I don't want to read to you each slide. However, I will touch some highlights on here. So for our specific exclusive program, we do allow 97% LTV, and then that additional 3% can be made up with a multitude of down payment assistance programs that are available, which I will go through next. A really great benefit is there's no PMI. So that helps a lot with folks, again, that have had maybe some hurdles in their credit where the PMI would have been prohibitive. This really allows them to take advantage of the 97% without being hamstrung by that really high PMI. We require as little as $500, which really, again, puts a little bit of the pressure off when we're looking at how to fill that gap in the down payment and closing costs, but allows the borrower to have some investment into the mortgage loan. They do need to be a first-time home buyer for this one. However, there are programs where that first-time home buyer definition is expanded. So in the next slide, you're seeing the NCHFA Home Advantage and First Home Advantage listed here. So you may have heard of these. They're kind of the de facto, usually the down payment assistance programs that are used probably the most widely, that we're the most familiar with. Again, some benefits of that, it's still at 97% LTV. It does have discounted mortgage insurance at 80% AMI and below. That's area median income. There is no borrower investment required, so it's a little different. There are income limits that apply, and there are additional restrictions, including the property condition that we just have to be mindful of on these and others. But it is normally something that tends to not be as prohibitive as certain localized down payment programs. So the North Carolina is definitely a great program that is widespread, can be used throughout the state, has a little bit more increased limits, as you'll notice. For the Home Advantage, the income limit is $92,000, which can include quite a bit of our borrowers. That is a good income limit. A lot of times on down payment assistance, we feel like the income limits can be a little tough to match up, especially in Buncombe, where sales prices are higher. We need higher purchase price ability. So with that income limit, it does help widen the net. For now, the difference here on this one, so if you'll notice, there's a Home Advantage and there's a First Home Advantage. So they are two completely different things. Now, it's not your role or your responsibility to work through that. That's what Paul and I are here for. We would absolutely help direct you to the right program. But the Home Advantage actually allows for move-up buyers. So you don't have to be a first-time home buyer to take advantage of the 3% of the loan amount down payment assistance, which is a fantastic benefit that I think a lot of people aren't as aware of. Now, the First Home Advantage, you are needing to be a first-time home buyer, but it gives you a full usage of up to $8,000 that can be used towards closing costs as well as down payment. So many times, depending on the purchase price, this can cover just about all of the down payment and closing. And I'll kind of get to even a better scenario in just a moment. But I think this is a really important distinction. Sometimes you see that NC Home Advantage, it's a little fuzzy. here are the two differences there on that. So an example with the 8,000 with a purchase price of 250, you've got that 3% down at the 242. So the required down payments at 7,500, and you've got 500 left to use towards closing or MI. Obviously, depending on how, depending upon how, oops, sorry about that. Depending upon the purchase price, that usage can change, but that is just a quick example for you to take a peek at. The Community Partners Loan Pool, this one is a very unique down payment assistance program. It is accessed through member agencies, so it would be through like Mountain Housing, for example. It does offer up to 20% of the purchase price. First-time home buyers and move-up buyers are okay with this one. Now, I would say the most prohibitive on this program is likely the income limits, as well as the condition of the home. There's some additional inspections required with Community Partner Loan Pool. But again, as with any of these programs, we would look to see what your specific buyer qualifies for and be able to match you up with those programs. The last down payment assistance program that we'd like to highlight today is called Federal Home Loan Bank of Atlanta. And I'm not sure how many of you are aware of this one, but it's a really flexible program that you can actually stack on top of the Homeownership Now, which is the Home Trust Bank in-house program. You can also pair this with North Carolina Housing. So I actually paired this along with North Carolina Housing, along with our portfolio program, and a customer actually received money back at closing. So I'm sure you've had some layered financing at some point, but this is just a really fantastic product that we can use along with that. There are different levels of assistance available. And what that really means is there's a benefit for first-time home buyers, but there's also a benefit for first responders and other types of occupations in our community. So it provides a really great breadth of options for us. It's a matching funds program, which I'll go over in just a moment. It does include manufactured and mobile housing, which is something that is different from some of the other programs. It does have income limits. I would say that's probably the most prohibitive, and again, something that we would look at for you. What's really great about this one is it doesn't have a lot of overlay as far as long as the loan program we've chosen, they are qualified for, and they meet these guidelines as far as income and occupation, they qualify for this. So there's not a rigorous qualification or application or anything like that. It's something we can get to, in my opinion, tends to work a little bit easier with our folks. So to continue, the first-time home buyer is a 4-to-1 match up to 7,500. And the community partner is a 4-to-1 match up to 10,000. And you'll see below, it applies to educators, veterans, COVID essential workers, healthcare. I mean, so it's again, really widening that net. Generally, the minimum investment for this one is $1,000, and that can include earnest money, appraisal, whatever your borrower has paid into the home. As long as they have put up at least $1,000, they can qualify for one of these matching programs, possibly in conjunction with some of the other ones we've discussed, which again, you can really make a significant impact, not only in the down payment, but bringing that loan amount down so their actual final housing payment is something that's very comfortable for them. So at this point, I've added in just some quick links for you, a quick mortgage calculator, which I'm sure you all have access to. But again, this one is one that we offer that works really well. A rent versus own, which can sometimes be helpful with some of your customers. And then North Carolina Housing Guides and Resources. Now, of course, this is certainly at your discretion, but this does allow you to look up get right down into the fine details of income limit, the amount that's available for assistance, and the guidelines there, as well as a housing research link, which I feel like is something that is very helpful for all of us to just, as Paul mentioned, as census information updates, we're seeing a lot of that research update as well to help us as we work in the field. And as promised, that is it.
We did it. We did it. We stayed in our time. Thank you so much, Kat.
Of course.
Yeah, so as I often say in this business, it's not difficult, it's complicated. You can see how we're stacking these programs. We're using some portfolio programs that we have, other government type loan programs may be used to pair them with down payment assistance. And what we feel like you can do best is just to try to identify these situations where you have a customer that may be eligible for this. I think, income, 80% area median income is probably the big identifier here. Or just, trying to get us a little more into what an acceptable price range is in our county. So I was hoping that we could also present today on the city's new down payment assistance program. I'm on our city committee with Barry Bialik. You might know he's done some of these programs for you as well. Maybe we'll have a chance to come back when we roll that city program out. But we have made recommendations to city council, and hopefully we'll arrive at something very soon. It's been a few years, so we're eager. All right, so I'm sure there are some questions. Kat, are you ready?
Absolutely. And I can go back to any slide. Again, I know that was fast, and really we wanted to give an overview because we know that a lot of times this is a very individualized decision and an individualized need for each borrower, each client. So it is something where, we definitely didn't want to overload as far as too far into the weeds on the details, but certainly any questions that you have, and we're always here as a resource. I think the biggest thing is, just make sure you take away our email and our information. That way, if you need anything at all, we can find out that information for you. But of course, Q&A for now. Absolutely.
Cool. All right. So I got some questions here. Are we going to be able to provide these slides along with the recorded video of the presentation to all of the all the folks who registered?
Well, as it's Cinco de Mayo, my fee is tacos, but yes, we can definitely do it. Absolutely, be happy to.
All right, awesome. So we're happy to provide this. You can certainly email Kat; she can send it back to you. Let's see, what is the general range of income limits? It's area median income, which is of course different from area to area. Most of these programs are 80%. There are some programs out there that are different, but that puts us, we had a slide with that on there. Kat, you recall that number?
Yeah, I'm actually going to go back to it for you.
70. So this is a great question because we just want you to be able to identify the opportunity, and then we'll take it from there and decide or determine which program is sort of appropriate, or which set of programs may be appropriate to use.
And part of our 21-minute, as we talked about, condensed version, we did actually remove that, Paul. But normally, I would say in most places for a single person, like Paul mentioned, it's kind of tough, but I would say somewhere in that 50,000 range is normally what we're seeing. But again, family size does matter. There are some resources and easy links that you can utilize to actually pinpoint what that income limit is for each program in each county. I'm happy to share that, but I know that can be a bit cumbersome, but I'm definitely happy to share that if you want to kind of take a peek and play with those tools, it is out there and available for you. I'll make a note, and I'm happy to send that.
All right, let's see. Put back the slide with the contact info, please.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there was another one asking for the same thing.
Okay.
Oh yeah, are these programs only available to buyers in Buncombe County? Do they extend to Henderson and McDowell? So yeah, absolutely. They're most of these programs that we talked about are available not only in Buncombe County but all over the state. So definitely, and we find that homes may be more affordable, especially in McDowell, right? So these are, this is a great question. So I'm glad it was asked.
Absolutely.
There are some programs that are meant for only a specific area, like the cities program I mentioned, but these will work in any of the areas that we're working in. That may be it. If anybody else has another question, go ahead and type. Oh, here we go.
And I'll go ahead and just add in while you're looking at that, Paul. So for instance, the CPLP, that one is that one was the large one, which is up to the larger, the 20% of the purchase price. And so that one is more locally specific. So we would work with a member agency and we would help you make that contact. So if a borrower or a buyer might fit into that program, we would then help find a local agency to help us sponsor and go through and get that program set up. So it's not something you would need to do or make a connection if you didn't already have one. We would take care of that for you.
Yeah. It was asked about materials to share. There are digital materials. Certainly all of these groups have websites.
Yes.
That they can jump on and check about eligibility. I think, LPL has a process where LPLP, what is it? Yeah. Well, it has a process where you actually apply, like the customer would apply themselves, whereas certain other programs may have us doing that for them.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we can identify that we may be eligible for that based on income in the area that we're in, then that we can help screen them for a correct program and if they do qualify for something. So
I think that's a great point. And that is generally how we proceed. So whether I'm contacted by a buyer or an agent, that's what I'm starting kind of from a top-down philosophy where I get a baseline of their scenario, any funds that they do have available or what they have to work with. And then I match it to all the programs that we have available and kind of do a funnel there to figure out which is the best for us. And to go back one small point, if you would like some marketing materials, some printed materials that you can actually give to buyers, that's very buyer friendly, that describes the program, we absolutely have those as well. We have them for Federal Home Loan Bank as well as North Carolina Housing. I'm happy to share those. If anyone would like those, feel free to contact myself or Paul. Be happy to get that to you.
Cool. One other thing I could mention, maybe just that the condition of the properties, there are programs that are pretty strict on this and then others that are less strict, but we'll just have to remember that someone with low income may not have the ability to make repairs and may not have the ability to improve the condition. Maybe they can maintain the condition of the property, but so the property should be in good condition. And we think of that as all of the systems of the home having life left in them. So the systems being a roof, foundation, plumbing, electrical. There should not be an immediate need for repair in any of the systems. All right. What about?
Oh, sorry.
We got a question. Yeah. What about land? Construction lending is very difficult. I assume that question is about buying land and building. I expect we may someday have programs like this where we can build. Right now, very few lenders even do a construction loan for anyone, much less someone who needs down payment assistance. I'm hopeful that we have programs like that, but right now it's a steep hill to climb.
And I also had a question about the links. Definitely, the links are embedded in this, so be happy to share this with you. That way you'll have access. And again, with all the other materials, or if you have questions, that are offline, don't hesitate to shoot us an email. We're happy to work with you on that too.
Yeah.
Oops.
Again, Kat's position, you can see there, community development mortgage loan officer, because these products are kind of complicated. She specializes in them, and that goes to show, it makes me proud that Home Trust is taking this seriously. So partner with us, please.
We love it.
All right, I think that's it.
Wonderful. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everyone, for joining today. And just to sort of piggyback on what Paul had mentioned, it really is a focus and commitment for us, and it's allowed me to work with many groups, help a lot of buyers that maybe aren't quite ready. I have customers that are a year out. And so, if you have someone that it's a family member or it's a friend or someone that's a little nervous about the process, that's what I'm here for. So we have lots of resources that help folks feel comfortable with the process to begin with, gives them a bit of a roadmap to how to get to where they need to be, and then full utilization of these programs when they are ready. I work with them from end to end. So very happy to do that. And hopefully we'll hear from some of you all shortly.
Great.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Kat and Paul, thank you so much. That was great. Just what we needed. Great.
Our
Thank
pleasure.
Yeah, thank you everyone for attending. And if anybody needs to know, we are going to put this recording on the website, so it'll be on there later this week.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.